All right then, so now what we are going to do is, so basically we are going to create the job details page just exactly over here. Wait a minute, I don't know why it is. Oh, here it is. Just like the same way, we need to display the job details and everything, just like the same way. And underneath it, you should display the related jobs. Okay. So this is what we are going to do. Along with that, we are going to do implement this feature for the user to apply for the specific job. And after that, we need to display the company details. Company wise, we have to display the details. Okay. So let's go here now. So now when I click this view details options, you will run into this 404 error because we don't have this specific page yet. So let me close everything over here. And inside the search, I'm going to create a new folder with the dynamic ID called job ID. And inside this job ID, I'm going to create a new file called page.tsx. And here sfc. And let's say job details page or something. And inside this division also, for the time being, I'm just going to say job details page. Save the changes, and now you should able to see that job details page. Okay, so now let me show you how to fetch that specific job details over here by using this job ID. So let's go here, and right after here I'm gonna get that params, and we need to create the type for this params, which is going to get that specific job ID and make sure it's as a string. This is how it should, you should get that. Okay, then I'm gonna get the user ID const. From the auth, I'm gonna get the user ID and make sure that you're receiving the user ID from here, something like this. Okay, so now what I need to do is we need to display this job ID over here. We need to make sure what kind of job ID that you're getting. So let's say params.job ID, and you should see that job ID which we are getting it exactly from the in the parameter over here. Okay, so now we know that we are displaying it. So here using the job ID, what I need to do, I need to fetch the job details. So let's say const job is equals to await db dot job. So in order to make use the await, you need to change this function to async. Now you will not get that error. So I'm going to use this find unique method, open it, and here you need to supply the var condition, var the ID which is going to be the params.job ID. Then after this I need to include few more details. So this include, sometimes it might not working properly with the MongoDB and the Prisma, because it need to fetch the related table information along with that, but sometimes it is not doing. But anyway, we will add it, so make it true. And if you get that information, I'm just going to say console.log, let's say job details colon, and let's print the job. So save it. And now if I check it out in over here, you should be able to see that complete information, and it is also giving the attachments along with that also. See, we are getting the attachments over here, and we need to get the company details as well as, right? See, it is giving us the company details as well as. Now what I need to do is I need to send this job information where to the client page where we are about to display that information. And along with that, we need this profile informations as well as. So let's go ahead and fetch the profile as well as. So over here we need to write one more if condition. We need to write an if condition. If I don't have the job, what I need to do, I need to redirect the user to /search. Okay, if that particular ID is not there, user need to be redirected to that search page. Okay, so by this way you can protect by typing some unwanted IDs over there. Okay, then perfect, and close it. So we don't need to print these details. So now I need to get the profile informations as well as is equals to await db.user profile.find unique, open it, and supply the user ID var is equals to user ID. Okay, so supply the user ID and you will get this error because it is not treating that user id as a string. So we need to convert that into a string so that error will be resolved. And include in this, we need to include the resume details also. So resumes, which is need to be ordered by, created at, by using descending order. All right, perfect. So now we have the profile informations as well as. So next what I need to do is I need to display those things in their respective places, just like the same way how we displayed it over here. So in order to do that, now let's write some styles for this. Let's make it this class name as a flex column, then padding, which is going to be 4, and on the medium devices, which is padding, is going to be 8. So save these changes, and I don't need this anymore over here. Okay, and let me enable the word wrap so you can see it clearly. Okay, so here I'm just going to display a new component called job details page content. Okay, that's the component. So let's go ahead and create a new components folder underneath it. So underscore components inside the job ID, and let's create a new file over here. Let's say job details page content.tsx, and here let's make this as use client and RAFC, and let's change this to job details page content and close this and save this information, and let's import it over here /components, and now we should be able to see the job details page content. And right after here, now let's get into this job details content and let's bring all those informations over here. So what are the information that we need to fetch it along with this? So let's say interface job details content props, open it. First you need to we need to fetch the job and the job id and the user profile, all those informations over here. So we need the job. First prop is going to be the job, so that which is going to be the type of job from the Prisma client itself. Then we need to fetch the job id itself, and we can make sure that is a string, and you need to get the user profile, which is going to be the user profile type from the Prisma itself. Okay, let's check it out. If it is not receiving that included resume attachments as well as, let's try something else. Okay, so save it and let's get back over here, and we need to destructure it, right? So let's destructure it and supply the job details content page props over here, supply the job id and user profile, save it, and let's apply those informations over here. Job, which is going to be the job itself, and job id, which is going to be the job.id, then user profile, user profile, save the informations. And here you can see it's saying that there is a possibility of it is getting as null. So in order to fix that, let's keep it as null as well as. And okay, so what is the issue? Wait a minute. Let's get over here. I think this is expecting like this. This is how we need to use in the here user profile, and you need to include the resumes as an array. And still we are getting that issue. Why? This is how we are fetching the data. Okay, Oh my goodness, this is supposed to be profile, not user profile. That's the reason it is showing that issue. My bad. I sent the wrong object. So let's check it out in the previous way itself. Yep. So we don't get any issues. Now what we have to do is let's do the console log and let's make sure everything is working perfectly fine or not. So console.log. So we need to get the company details, right? So let's say company, let's make sure whether all those we are fetching it properly or not. So job.company, see, we are getting the company ID alone, right? We are not getting the attachments, and we are not getting the, see, we are not getting the attachments because it is not including this is including only that specific type of that. So we need to update the type of the job. So what we need to do is, let's get back. So this user profile also will have the same issue when you're trying to fetch the resume, because over here, so let's copy this and let's get back over here and let's update it over here, because user profile needs to fetch, and along with that it needs to fetch the resume with the specific type of array. So in order to do the same stuff, what we need to do, job needs to fetch this, along with this it's need to fetch the company with the name of company itself, and along with that it's need to fetch attachments. Let's bring the schema, open it. What is the name for the attachments I have used, which is going to be attachments. Use the attachments over here, and it is should be attachment array. This is how you need to send it. Okay, and we are getting the error over here because company details might get as a null. So I'm gonna say null. Now we can see we don't have that issue because we are fetching the job. Along with the job we are receiving the company and the attachment details, because there is a problem over here, company might get null. So that's the reason we are making sure either give me the company details in the name of company or give me the null and receive the job dot attachments. So now if you check it out over here, console.log, and open it, if you wish to get the company details you can get it through over here. Now job.company, see, now we are receiving the company details. I can able to print those company details in the console directly over here. Check the console, you should see now we're having the object of that company details over here, right? So if you wish to get the attachments, now if I say attachments, I should able to see the attachments over here. See, company, these are the attachments of what that specific job we do have. Okay, so by this way we can able to fetch that job informations along with that. Okay, so now we have all those information straight away in our hand. Now all I have to do is to bring the details and display it one after another. Okay, so first let's go ahead and start doing that. All right, so what I'm going to do is, let me close this and I'm going to bring a React fragments and over here. So first what we need to do, I'm going to bring this box from add components. So make sure that is being imported from add components, not from Lucid React. If you're importing it from there, it will doesn't show any issue and it will not work also as well as. So class name, which is going to be margin top 4. So let's say that, and inside here it was expecting the children. What is the first thing that we need to bring this breadcrumb, and don't worry about this banner sections, we will worry about it later. Let's bring this breadcrumb. So I'm gonna bring that custom breadcrumb, and for this first let's apply the breadcrumb item, which is going to be an array itself. Open the object, let's apply the label, which is going to say search. Then it need to send the link as well as, which is going to be /search. And right after here we need to supply the breadcrumb page, which is going to be job, if the job has the title, right, in that case, and if it is not equals to undefined, in that situation send the job.title. Otherwise keep it an empty string. Okay, so save these changes. Now you should be able to see home, search, and with that job title over here, whatever the job that you are trying to open, it's going to display that job title over here, right? Then right after here, now we need to get back over here and display this specific thing. Okay, so that is what we are going to do now. So this is the place where we are going to display the job cover image, which is basically, and let's create a box, and let's say class name margin top, which is going to be 4, and hit the enter. And here let's say div class name width, of course it's going to be full, then flux item center height, of course I'm going to fix the height as 72, position is going to be relative, and rounded, which is going to be the medium, and the overflow, everything is going to be hidden. Okay, so let me bring the word wrap so you should be able to see it much more clearly. Okay, so here now, not every job is going to have the job cover image. So in that situation, what I'm going to do is job dot image URL. If it does have that, then I need to display something. If it doesn't have that, I need to display something over here. Okay, so is that a situation? In that situation, what I need to do over here, if I have that image, I'm going to bring an image, next image, and for this image alternative, which is going to be, I'm going to display the job title itself, job.title itself. Then on the it's need to take the complete fill, then class name, which is going to be object, it should cover the entire stuff. Then it should take the width as full, height as full. Then we need to supply the source, which is going to be the job .image URL itself. Save those changes. Now you should be able to see that cover image over there. So if there is no image at all, in that situation, we need to display this division with the class name of width as full. Width is going to be full. Height is also going to be full. BG, which is going to be purple 100. Flex item center, justified center. And here I'm going to display a h2, which is going to display the job.title. Okay, so here let's say class name, text, which is going to be 3XL, font semi bold, tracking wider, something like that. So if let add some not over here, in that situation, this is how it should looks like. Okay, now let's display that image itself. So right after this box, now what we have to do is, let's get back over here, see the design. We have to display this one, okay, where we have a division. With that division inside, we are displaying this title and this apply button. So let's go ahead and do that. So right after here, title and the action buttons. Okay, so right after here, I'm gonna bring a box with the class name of margin top 4, enter. And here I'm gonna create a div with the class name of space y2. And inside this division, now what we have to do is, inside that division, we are going to bring the h2 tag. So I'm going to copy this h2 tag and I'm going to paste it straight away over here. Instead of 3XL, I'm going to make it to 2XL. And instead of tracking wider, I'm just going to say text neutral 600 something. Okay, something like that. So you should be able to see that title over there. Then right after that h2 tag, I'm going to create a div over here with the class name of flex item center and gap, which is going to be 2. Okay, so over here, I'm just going to say job dot company dot logo. Okay, if the job dot company dot logo is there, then I need to display the logo. So let's say this is how it should be So what we can do is I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it. Instead of this is going to be company.name. That is going to be the details. Add the question mark because we don't want to run into any unwanted issues. And in this time, this is going to be .company.logo, something like that. Then this is we don't need this, so let's say width, of course it is going to be 25, and height, of course, which is going to be 25, and I don't need this class name, so let's delete that class name. Save it. This is how it should looks like. Then right after this, I'm going to bring a paragraph tag which is going to display the job, that job.company.name. Okay, save it. Now we have that company name over there. Text muted foreground and text SM and font semi bold. Save changes. This is how it should looks like. Okay, so basically this is the division where we are displaying all these things, right? We need to wrap this stuff into a link tag, link over here. Okay, so now what we are going to do is this is the place we need to push this to dynamic string literals / companies / that particular company ID. So let's say job.company.id, or you can simply say company ID, something like this. So that will push the this particular to that particular company ID. Okay, so now if you click this, you should be able to see the company ID, but if you click it, you will definitely run into the issue because we don't have that anything. Okay, so for this class name PY, which is going to be 2. Okay, so it is not working how it is supposed to be. Let's say margin top as 2. Okay, now this is perfectly fine, or let's keep it as 1. Okay, that is looking perfectly fine. Okay, so don't worry about this. We will fix this part later because we need to display the company information, but I forgot to add that company information over here. But if in the search, when I click that company, see, when I click this company, it is going to take the user to this specific company's page. You can see that company and that specific company ID. This is where we need to display that. Okay, so okay, so what we can do, let me bring not this one, come on, bring the details. Yep, now we have this. Okay, so right after here we having that company name and company details. So let's go ahead and bring that this action button, this particular action button. So what we need to do is, so right after this division over here, we need to bring that action button. So let's create a div. Okay, so this is the div where we are going to bring the user profile. So we need to make sure whether we do have the user profile or not. If I have that user profile, then I need to render something over here. Okay, so if that user profile haven't updated, which means the user doesn't even created his profile, in that situation we need to force the user to update the profile first, because once the user updated his profile, then only we can able to display those details over here, right? So if he doesn't apply that, then over here I'm going to bring the link href and I'm going to push the user to where /user. Okay, and over here I'm going to bring the button, which is going to say this button needs to be imported from add components, which is going to say update profile, and this button needs to have a very specific styles. So I'm gonna bring that styles over here like this: text SM, padding, BG, hover, and shadow effects. So you will not see this specific button over here because we have the profile. So all we have to do is to now display. So let me show you what I'm saying over here is, if not profile, save it, you should be able to see that button. That's how. All right. Okay, so now since we have the user profile, so we don't need to display this. So now all we have to do is to open it. If I have the user profile, then in this case, we need to figure it out whether the user is already applied for the job or not. So if the user haven't, if the user profile dot applied job dot sum, open it. In this case, I'm going to get that applied job, okay, that particular job ID out of it. So that applied job dot job ID should be equals to this current job ID. So if you check your schema over here, see in this applied job, basically it's the type of this applied job itself, which is having the job ID and when it is being applied. So we need to figure it out whether this user profile, whatever the jobs user he applied, which is being successfully saved inside the user profiles, right? So we need to figure it out that specific job ID, whatever the jobs which is applied by the users, it will be stored in that applied job with the job ID and that applied date. So we are checking that, we are fetching that job and we are trying to figure it out whether this ID, which is equals to this loaded job ID, is that a case, then the user is already applied. If it is not, we need to ask the user to. So we are checking the condition as not. So if this applied job ID is not equals to this, then we need to ask the user to apply. If it is equal to that, then we need to say user is already applied. So here I'm going to check the question mark and I'm going to bring a button, and over here I'm going to bring a question mark and I'm going to say the button. So inside this button, so I'm going to say class name text sm, which is going to be bg purple 700, bg purple 700, then on hover bg purple 900, and hover it should have the shadow s, and inside here I'm going to say apply, save it, and I'm going to copy this class name, or we can simply copy this, paste it over here and add the variant as outline. So now wherever the term bg, so instead of this bg it should have the text as purple. Okay, text as purple. So let me remove this condition. So this is how it should looks like. So here already applied, something like this. If the user already applied, this is how it should looks like. Not something like that. Text should be text purple, and border should also be purple 400. Okay, something like that. And on hover, okay, so on hover text should be white, something like this. Okay, and let me change this condition back. If not user profile, in that situation this is how it should looks like. Perfect. Now we have this applied button. Okay, so later worry about this options and everything. Okay, so no issues. Now over here, next what I need to do is we need to bring this descriptions, informations and everything. So let's go ahead and display that description, informations and everything. So right after this box, this is the place it is getting ended. So right after this box, we need to bring the description about that job. So let's bring the box, class name, flex column, margin top and bottom, which is going to be 4 items. Everything should be in the starting point. Justify content also should be in the starting point. Padding is going to be 4. Okay, inside here I'm going to bring an #2 tag, which is going to say description about the job. Then over here the paragraph, which is going to display the short description about the job job dot short description. This is how it should looks like. Then for this class name, text should be LG, font should be semi bold, something like that. And for this font should be the sans, font sans. Oops. Class name, font sans, something like that. This is how it should looks like. And let's increase the gap a little bit, gap to perfect. Now we have that gap perfectly how we wanted it. Then we need to display the job description. So over here, if the job does contains the description, in that situation I need to bring a box and I need to bring the preview from the components where we already displaying the data. So over here you need to supply the value which is going to be the job question mark dot description. Save those changes. You should be able to see that complete description over here. Perfect. And it is looking perfectly fine now. So now we have the job description. So you can get back over here to the search and you can load any specific job with these details. See, we're able to see that any specific jobs over here with the complete informations. All right. Okay, so that looks perfectly fine. Okay, so let me open this one. All right, that's looking great. And now right underneath it, if it does have that application attachments, right, we need to display that attachments. Is that scenario, what I need to do is I need to check whether this job has the attachments or not. If the job does have the attachments, then I need to render that attachments dot map. Let's get the every single item out of it. Sorry, before doing the map I need to make sure the length is greater than 0. It means it's having something to display. Then over here I'm gonna say bring the box class name, flex column, margin top which is going to be 4, item everything should be starting point, justify everything should be starting point, padding px it's going to be 4, and enter. Over here just like the same thing for what we did for description, I'm gonna bring the description. Instead of that I'm gonna say attachments. Okay, and right after here I'm gonna render it. So let's say if the job does contains the attachments dot map, then open it, extract the every single item of it, enter. Okay, so we need to display the name and as well as, okay, so let's create div class name which is going to be, instead of that let's create item dot id. Then over here we need to ask the user to download that attachment, right? So over here I'm going to create a paragraph, then download the instructions about that job. Okay, then right after this paragraph I'm gonna bring a link tag, and inside here I'm gonna bring the extension, okay, a file extension. So I'm gonna bring that file extension. Let's bring this, or let's bring the file icon. Okay, let's bring the file icon. So class name, let's say width, of course it's going to be 4, and height of course it's going to be 4, margin right which is going to be 2, and inside this link tag I'm gonna bring the name of that specific, which is going to display the item dot name. Okay, and for this href I need to supply the item dot url, because that is the attachment id which we do have, right? And this needs to be downloaded in a blank, so underscore blank, and then make sure that is for downloading purpose. We don't need that bracket. And the class name which is going to be, so let's save it and let's see how it is looking like. Okay, it is not having any attachments, so let's get the job which does have the attachment. Yep, I think this is the one. Okay, see, we have three different attachments over here. So what we need to do is for this division, inside this division, let's say class name space y, which is going to be 3. So now we should have some space inside over there. Okay, then for this link tag, let's mark the flex item center, justify center gap, which is going to be 1. Okay, so not justify center, then remove it. Perfect. This is supposed to be printed only one time. Okay, let's keep this over outside. So okay, now we should able to see that. Download the attachments to know more about the job. Okay, perfect. And let's convert everything inside over here as font sans. Now we should able to see the text which is looking exactly the same way over here. Perfect. All right. Okay, fine then. Okay, so now for this link needs to be in the text purple 400 colors. Okay, this is how it should looks like. Now if I click this PDF, that is going to open that specific PDF in a new page where I can see that complete PDF and I can download it. Okay, so now we have that attachments as well as where we are looking at over here, and it's looking perfectly fine. And all we have to do is to now get back over here and display this related job. So let's jump back to the page.tsx, and this is the place where I need to bring that separator from where add components UI separator. So let me display that separator. Okay, now I should able to see the separator. So now I need to filter the jobs, because basically what we need to do is we need to display the jobs except this particular job ID. So right over here, I'm just going to say const filtered jobs is equals to jobs. So I need to fetch the jobs first, right? So const jobs is equals to await get jobs, open it and supply the empty object, because we need to fetch everything without any filters. Then over here jobs dot filter, open it. Then I'm gonna get that job, because you can't use the job name, so because we already have that variable name over here, so I can simply say as j for job j. Then if the j dot id not equals to that particular job dot id, and we need to fetch the job which matches that specific category alone, not every single job, and the j dot category id should be equals to job dot category id. So we need to remove this job when you're trying to display the related job, and as well as we need to, while the time when you're displaying the related job, that should matches that specific category alone, not any other category jobs. Okay, so that is what we are doing over here. All right, so then what we need to do is over here, I'm going to cut this part right now. So I'm going to say if I do have the filtered jobs, and if the filtered jobs dot length is greater than 0, in that situation I need to render this. I need to render this block of codes. And let me bring the separator now, and here I'm going to bring, let me get back to here, and let me copy this part for the time being, paste it, oops, paste it, close it, and make sure that is being imported at components. And instead of description, I'm going to say related jobs, and I don't need this colon, and let me delete this one. Okay, so right after here, I'm going to bring this the same page content from okay, let me import this, and over here I'm going to supply the jobs, which is going to be the filtered jobs, Then I'm going to supply the user ID, which is going to be this user ID. So basically this is the page content which is coming from where? From your search, where it is here. See? So save these changes, and now you should be able to see the jobs, which is, see over here, I do have that specific job which is matches that specific category alone. So now let me get back over here. If I click search and let me display some other jobs over here, see, this is the only job which matches this specific same category because I just replicated it by duplicating the MongoDB. So let me click the details, and now you should be able to see we have two content creators which matches this specific job category, and that is what we are displaying it over here. So this is the related job which we wanted it, right? So this is all we wanted it. We successfully displayed all those things, and now all I have to do is to, when I click this apply, I need to bring a model and where I can able to display the user details, and for that user they can apply that specific job. So which I'm saying is, if I open this one, saying I already applied. If I open this, oh come on, I think I already applied everything by the time when I was trying to do, here we go. See, now when I click this, this is what we need to do. We need to bring a model where we are going to display all the user informations along with their active resume, and if they wish to change it, he can simply click over here and he will be navigated to the user profile, so he can change that active resume and everything. Once he clicks confirm, it is going to send an email to the user, and it's going to update the database, so we can update that. We can make sure whoever the applicants who applied for the specific job for this particular job in the admin control. And this is what we need to do in the upcoming session, and that is what we are going to do in the next video. Okay then, so now what we need to do is, whenever I'm clicking this apply button, it is bringing this model, so we have to bring that model, which is nothing but, let's get back to the Shadcn and search for model, or let's say dialog. Yes, this is the one, dialog. When I click this, it is going to bring this dialog box over here. So right, so let's click this and add the dialog, open it, click new and paste it, hit the enter. So it's saying dialog is already existed, so I don't want to I don't want to overwrite it because it's already existed, so we don't have to worry about it in that situation. I think I already used the model somewhere, dialog somewhere. Okay, so no issues. So now what we have to do is to, let me create a model first. So collapse everything in the UI folder, components inside the UI folder. I'm going to create a new file called model.tsx. Okay, so let's mark this one as the client component, use client. Okay, so over here I'm going to import all these things straight away over here. Then I'm going to create the props for the model. Let's say model props. We are going to supply the title, and we are going to supply the description, and we are going to supply is open, which is basically going to be a boolean value, and we are going to have an on close function, which is going to be a function which doesn't take any parameter, which is going to return a void, and this is going to take the children, which is an optional, which is going to be the type of react node itself. These are the props. Then let's say export const model, which is going to be a model. Let's open it and let's destructure all those props over here. Let's say model props, and inside here we need to get the title, and we need to get the description, and we need to get is open and on close and the children as well as. Okay, so let me enable the word wrap so we can see it clearly. This is how it should looks. Now inside here, what I'm going to do is we are going to return this particular content. Copy this, paste it over here, dialog trigger and all those things. So this dialog needs to be opened we don't need this dialog trigger because I don't need it, because dialog that will be triggered by where, by the apply button, which we do have in some other place. Then inside the dialog header, we have the dialog title, which is need to be display the title, whatever I'm passing it from the front end. And in the dialog description, I need to display the description, the description, and right after this description and the header, inside the block content, I'm going to create a div which is going to display the children, whatever that we are trying to render inside. Okay, and for this I'm going to say open when it's need to be open with this function, with this boolean value is open. And on open change, I'm going to call this on change, which I don't have that method yet, which means I need to create that function. So const on change, whenever I'm clicking that function, which is going to get open, which is going to be the boolean value, whatever the value which we are getting. If it is true, we are going to send the true. If it is true, we need to mark it as false. So if it is not open, then call this on close method, which helps you to close that module, right? This is what that model is all about. All right, so now we have the model. Okay, so next what we need to do is we need to create the apply model, so basically which helps you to apply this job. If I click this, it is need to open that apply model. Okay, so in order to do that, what I need to do is I'm going to create a new component over here inside the UI. Let's say apply model.tsx. Okay, so we need to make sure this is going to be use client. Okay, and let me copy the interface props, copy this and paste it and change this to apply model props. Make sure all these things are here. Title, we don't need the title and we don't need the description, but we need is open and on close. And of course over here I need one more function which is going to confirm that, which is going to be on confirm. Then at last we need to get that loading, which is going to be the boolean. At the end we don't need this one because over here we need to get the user profile. So let me open the resume form and let me copy this one and supply it over here. So which is going to be the user profile, something like this. And at the end what we need to do, we need to add this from Prisma client and add this from the Prisma client. These are all going to be the props. Perfect. Now let's create that apply model. So let's say export const apply model. Come on, apply model, which is going to be a callback function. Open it. Okay, and now inside here I'm gonna destructure all these things, which is coming from where, from apply model props, which needs to be is happen, this is open and on close and on confirm and loading and user profile. So save these changes and hit the enter straight away over here. Okay, so in order to fix the hydration issue, because we are trying to load it, sometimes it might cause the hydration before because of the server and client conflicts. We need to fix that because it will be, this model needs to be loaded at anyhow. So in order to do that, I'm going to bring this use state snippet, and over here is say is mounted, and by default it is going to be false. So I'm going to bring the use effect, open it, create a callback function and create an empty injection. Then over here I'm just going to say set is mounted as true, and right after here, if it is not is mounted, then it should not be loaded. It need to wait until the server component beans are successfully loaded. If everything is done, then at the end I need to return the model. Okay, we need to bring this model which is we created over here, and this model need the title, which is going to be are you sure, then description. Over here, this action cannot be undone, and we are going to say is open. And on close, I'm just going to call a callback empty function, and on confirm. Okay, so and now if you click this, we need to bring this. So let's say is open is going to be is open, and when you're closing it, this needs to be mapped over here on close. On close for this function, this needs to be mapped properly over here, and this is supposed to be having some children in it, and I'm just going to say hi there, something like that. So I need to trigger this model. So where I can trigger this model, let's get back to the job details page, because that is the place where we are about to display this job model. Right after over here, I'm gonna say apply model. Okay, so here is open, and on close, let's say have an empty callback function for the time being. Then on confirm, for the time being, let's have an empty callback function. Then we need to say loading, which is going to be having a state where we doesn't have that yet. So let's create that state over here. So use state is loading, because we are going to make some changes on the database, right? So that's the reason we're having this loading state. So I'm going to say is loading, and then user profile, supply the user profile object. So save these changes. Now you should be able to see that apply model, which is working perfectly, because this is the place where we are loading the apply model, and this is what that apply model component. This apply model component is displaying this model component over here. Now if you close this, it's need to close properly. So what I'm going to do is, let's get back over here. So on close, what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to create one more state over here, which is helps us to open and close this use state snippet, which is going to be open, and set open, which by default it's going to be false. So this is open is basically based on what this open state, and whenever I'm clicking on close, I'm just going to say set open as false. Basically we are going to make that particular thing as false. Open it and make it as false. Okay, and yep, save it. Now you will not see that. Okay, so where I can trigger this, so basically you can trigger this in this button. So whenever I'm clicking on click, I'm gonna call a callback function, and I'm going to say set open as true. Save it. Now when I click this, it is going to bring this. If I click it, it is going to close it. All right, so bingo. Next, what I need to do is, we need to display something exactly in the similar way, just like what we have over there, where we need to display all those user informations and everything. So let's get back into the apply model, close it over here. Okay, so this is going to be box. Okay, let's import this box from at box component, or from the local double dot box component itself. Okay, perfectly fine. Here I'm going to bring a division, which is going to have a class name, which is going to be grid, and grid column always it's going to be 2, and gap of course it's going to be 2, and width every time it should be full. Inside here I'm going to bring a label which is going to display the name, so padding 3, and it should have the border, then it should be rounded medium. And inside here I'm going to bring the user profile dot full name. Save it. Now if I click this, you should be able to see the user profile dot full name. Then I'm going to copy this, copy it, and paste it over here. This is the place where we are going to bring the contact. Save it. And let me paste it one more time. This is the place where we are going to bring the email, but this time this should take the complete column span of 2, like this. Then we need to display the user active resume, something like this, what a resume that he was using, right? So right after here, I'm gonna bring this label instead of this, padding 3 bottom rounded MD, and it should take the column span as 2, and it should be flex, item center gap should be 2, and white space no wrap. Make sure it doesn't wrap anything inside in it, right? Then I'm gonna bring the enable the word wrap so you can see it something like this. So here I'm just going to say your active resume. So I'm gonna display that resume over here. Okay, so right after here, I'm gonna bring a span tag. Inside the span tag over here, we need to display that name, resume names, because we need to figure out what particular resume is active. So user profile question mark dot resumes dot find. We need to find that active resume alone, find, open it. We need to get that resume, every single resume, one after that another. So resume ID should be equals to user profile dot active resume ID. From that, I need to get that name and I need to display it over there. So this is what the user active resume ID name. So for this, I'm going to say class name text purple, which is going to be 500 or 700, and width should always take it completely. Then I need to truncate the unwanted namespaces. Now the user can see his active the resume ID. Then right after this label box, I'm going to create a division. Okay, so this division will helps the user to change that. So this is going to be column span of 2 and flex item center and justify everything at the end. Then text, everything should be small and text should be muted 400. Okay, here I'm just going to say change your details, where right after here I'm going to bring the link from next link, which helps the user to change the active resume. So this will take the user to /user. Over here I'm going to say simply as over here. So if the user clicks this, he will be navigated to the user profile, so he can customize his text purple 700 and margin left is going to be a little bit 2. So something like this. See, change your details over here. So now if you click this, you will be navigated to your profile where you can update your resumes and your personal information and everything. Okay, so then right after this box over here, I'm gonna bring a division with class name, which is going to be padding top as 6, space x is going to be 2, and flex item center and justify everything at the end, and width of course it's going to be full. Inside here I'm gonna bring a button from /button itself. This button needs to be disabled whenever it is loading. Then we need to get the variant of the button is going to be the outline. Then on click, what we are going to do, we are going to call the on close, because we need to close that button if the user cancel it. If the user canceling it, we need to close this, right? If you click it, it should be closed, something like that. Then right after here, I'm gonna bring one more button, which is going to say continue, something like that. So this is going to be disabled when it is being loading. Whenever it is being loading, it need to be disabled, and the variant of course it's going to be the default, so we don't have to type the default itself. And the class name, it's going to be bg purple 700. Then on hover, I'm going to say bg purple 900 or 800. Let's change it, something like that. And on click, I'm just going to call this on confirm function. Okay, so this on confirm function will trigger this particular on confirm callback function, which we doesn't have it yet. So we need to create a function and we need to perform that API and all those things. So save those changes. Now you should be able to see that we have this continue. So if I click this will going to trigger this call or that on confirm callback function. Perfect. And now we have this successful apply model, and all we have to do is to get back over there and create ourselves that particular API in order to apply this specific job. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that now. All right then, so in order to do that, now what we have to do is, so let's get back over here and let me get back to the APIs folder, API users. In the user ID, this is the place where we need to create the applied jobs. So let me create the new folder called applied jobs, and inside here I'm going to create a new file called route.ts. Perfect. Okay, so what we need to do is basically this is going to be the patch. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to get back to the applied jobs. Then I'm going to paste this patch work over here. Okay, so we don't need anything else. We need to get the profile and okay, so what we have to do is, so basically we don't need to get the JSON data because we are simply getting the string. So text alone it's enough. So I'm gonna say that as the job ID. That is going to be the job ID. So we have the user ID. If there is no user, this is what will happen. And we have the user profile as well as, so we are fetching the user profile. Okay, so now what we need to do is so we don't need this anything. Let me delete it. Okay, so now we have the user profile. So over here I'm gonna say copy. If there is no profile, if not profile, I'm just going to say user not found. User profile not found. Okay, and we need to make sure this as a string. We need to make sure user ID as what? As string. It's better to say user ID colon user ID as string, something like that. So anyways, here we are not getting any issue, but in future we might get that issue. In that situation, we need to figure it out. Okay, so now we have all those profiles and information. So now all we have to do is to get back over here and update that information. So const updated profile is equals to await db dot user profile dot update. Open the function, open it where the user ID, supply the user ID and supply the data. So the data needs to be updated with the applied jobs, right? So let's go here, and what I need to say is applied jobs, which is going to be push that job ID, because another one field will be automatically created, so you don't have to do that. So push that job ID into that field. Okay, then simply send back the updated user profile. So that updated profile, this is going to be job applied jobs patchwork. Okay, applied jobs patchwork. All right, so let's cross verify one more time. So we're having the user ID, we don't need to worry about. If not user ID, we are going to return as unauthorized. Then we are getting the job ID as a text inside in it. Then we are trying to figure it out whether we are having the user profile or not. If there is no user profile, we are returning it as it is. And we need to check one more thing. If there is no job ID as well as, we need to return something. If there is no job ID, in that case job ID is missing. Okay, then we have to get that profile information. If not profile, we are saying profile not found. Then we are trying to update that user profile over here by simply pushing that job ID into it, and at the end we are returning that updated profile over here. So this is the route which is going to work perfectly fine. Okay, all right, so now what we have to do is to let's get back to this page. Okay, so here what we need to do is I'm gonna call a callback function called on applied which is going to be an asynchronous callback function, and this function need to be called over here on applied. Okay, so here I'm just going to say set is loading as true. Then let's open the try and catch. If in case is there any error is happening over here, just like the same way what we did previously, we need to spring this toast and display it over here. Then on the finally block, I'm gonna close that model, mark it as false. We need to mark it as false. Then, oh come on, set open, it should be false. Then set is loading, that is also should be false. And at the end we need to refresh the router. So const router is equals to use router from next navigation. So we have to refresh that router dot refresh. Okay, so now inside the try block, now what we need to do is we are going to get that call that API. So const response is equals to await axios dot patch work, open it. So I'm gonna say slash API slash user, make sure that is where the router is being created, right? Applied job where it has been created, slash API. So that route is being created where slash API slash users user ID applied jobs. So this is the place where it's been created, slash users slash, we need to get that user ID, so which is going to be the user profile dot ID, user ID. Then we need to supply this applied jobs name, copy it, paste it, applied job. This is where API slash users user ID and slash applied jobs. Then we need to supply the job ID over here, okay, which is going to send that. This is what it's going to trigger that function. Okay, so then right after here, what I need to do is, this is the place I need to send the mail to the user, right? So we need to send a mail to that specific user. All right, so before sending the mail, let's make sure whether it is working fine or not. So click it, get back to the inspect elements and get back to the network, close it, click confirm, apply job is being triggered and it's successful, and it should refresh now, and here we go. So now you can see we are getting the messages already applied for this job. So let's get back to this particular details. And now, okay, so now what we have to do, we have this apply. So now if you click this job also will be applied, right? So let's go, before sending this mail, if this job is already being applied, next what we need to do is we need to display a banner which is indicating that user job is already applied. So in order to do that, straight away over here, let's check the, if I have the user profile and user profile dot applied jobs dot sum, okay, dot, we need to check, we need to figure it out whether it has been applied or not. So here dot sum, open it, and I need to get that applied job out of it. Then that applied job dot job ID should be equals to this specific job ID which is being loaded in this page. If it is says so, which means the condition is true, so the user already applied for the job. In that situation, I'm going to get this banner from add components, and for this banner I'm going to supply the variant which is going to be the success variant. Then I'm going to supply the label which is going to be this text message, thank you for applying, and a blah blah blah, something, a very big text over here, something like this. Oops. Thank you for applying. Your application has been received and we are reviewing it carefully. We will be in touch soon with an update. So save these changes. If you already applied for the job, this is what will be displayed over here. Okay. So now let's get back to the details page. Okay. Of the another job, because that's now we need to integrate the sending mail option, because this is now it is empty. So in order to send your mail, what we have to do is, let me open my Gmail and click manage accounts where it is, yeah, manage your Gmail account. And if you get back to the uh, security, I think so, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, make sure that you enable this two-step verification, because that's need to be enabled. And where is that app? Oh, come on. Security. Manage passwords. Nope, not this one. Let's say search for Google app passwords for SMTP and sign in with app passwords. Create or okay, click create or manage your app password. Verifying it is you. So let me load it, verify it myself. And there we go. So which I already do have this. So where this app password it is? Okay, so it is here only, but I couldn't see where it is. App password, not this one, I think so. Yep, not that one. It should be visible over here, guys, but we should be able to see it over here, but we can't see it. So simply search for app passwords. Yep, search for app passwords over here, and that is opening that one. Yep, here we go. See, this is the job portal app which I already created, okay, when I created May 9th. Okay, so now here what I'm going to do is I'm gonna create YouTube job portal app, something like that. So let me create it. So now this is the password. I need to keep it safe, so I'm going to copy it and I'm going to close it. So before closing it, let me open the environment variable, okay, because that is the way where we need to save that SMTP email and password. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that SMTP TP underscore password is equals to paste it, and now we can close it. Okay, so now it has been created, so don't worry about it. Now we can simply close it. So then let's get back over our application, and right after here, now what I need to do, I'm just going to say smtp underscore email, which is going to be my email itself, retrieval.galaxy@gmail.com. So please make sure this email should matches the email app password which you have created. Okay, so save it. Now shut down your application, because we make some changes in our environment variable, right? So let's shut down the application, so don't worry. So shut down the application, and now we need to install 3 different packages. So let's install npm install node mailer, because that's the package which we are going to use for installing the node mail, sending the smtp mail. Then we have to install the types of it. So let's say add types slash node mailer. Okay, and along with this we are going to install one more package called handlebars. So basically this handlebars which is going to help us, this is the one, handlebars. See, handlebars, this is the one. So these three, this is for sending the mail, and this is for customizing your template, mail template. Okay, that's the reason we are installing all those things. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to create a new file. Let me get back over here to the library, and I'm going to create a new file called mail.ts over here. Okay, so let me run my application, npm run dev, and let's refresh it. Okay, so now in the mail dot, open the mail dot file. Let me close this. Okay, so here now what I need to do is first I need to import the node node mailer from where node mailer. Let's import that one. Then let's import the handlers from handlebars. So let's import it exactly the same way, copy it and paste it over here. Okay, so then what I need to do, I'm just going to say export const send mail, which is going to be an asynchronous callback function. Okay, and this function is going to have to name to whom you are trying to send and the name of it and the subject of the mail and the body of the mail. These are the things. And let's add the type for those all those props. To, which is going to be string, and name, that is also going to be string, and for subject, that is also going to be string, and for the body, which is that is also going to be the string. So save these changes. This is how it should looks like. Then inside here, now let's get the two different important things which we have created from over here. SMTP password. Then I need to access this SMTP email. These two things from there, from this. Okay, we need that. Now what I need to do is first I need to create the transport in order to send a mail. So const transport is equals to node mailer dot create transport. Open it. So if you wish to know about all these things, you can simply get back over here and search for node mailer npm. See, node mailer, and you can simply go through how they are sending the mail. You can go through this official documentation and all those things. Okay, they do have their own documentation. So over here, I'm going to say service, which is service that we are using. We are using the Gmail service. Then use the auth, open it. User, which is going to be the SMTP email, and the password, which is going to be the SMTP password. Okay, which we created from that app. Then once all these things, I'm going to bring the try and catch. In case if there is any error is going to happening, I'm just going to say console.log whatever the error it is. Then I'm just going to say toast.error. I'm going to get that error as error, then get the message out of it, something like this. Okay, and finally we need to return it. We are not sending anything, we are simply returning it. So if it is properly handling it, we are going to get the text result, which is going to be await, let's say transport.verify. So this function is going to do that. Then I'm going to console.log that text result. Okay, so once the text result is being successfully verified, that means the app password and all those things are verified successfully. Then again, I'm going to create one more try and catch. This time I'm going to do the same stuff, copy this and paste it over here. Okay, and now we are going to send the mail because the ID is being successfully verified. Then let's send those result over here. So await transport dot send the mail, open it. So we are going to send the mail over here. So inside this mail, now what I need to do, I need to extract, I need to supply the from, which is going to be SMTP email. That's the from address, and to address we will send it. And let's send the subject when we are calling this function, and let's apply the HTML, which is going to be the body of it. Save it. Okay, we are going to basically send that body from the place wherever we are calling it. Okay, so now let's get back to the function of the detail content over here, because this is the place where we need to send that. Okay, so what we need to do is right after here, I need to send a mail, right? So because we are going to use this send mail function at different places for in order to, if the user is already, if the user been selected or if the user has been rejected, we need to send a mail for that, right? So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is, so basically let's go to the API. Okay, so API, this is the place. Inside here, I'm going to create a new route, I'm going to create a new folder over here called thank you. That's the thank you mail, right? So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new mail called route.ts. Okay, inside here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say export const post route, which is going to be an asynchronous callback function. Open it. Okay, so here we need to get that email and the full name of the user, so which is should match the schema. Open the schema and please make sure that is matching this full name, and it should match that email. So make sure that email and everything is being matched. Then we need to get that from where? From the request.json. So don't worry, we don't have that yet. So let's bring that request, which is going to be the request instance, and let's get the request.json. Open it. Okay, and right after here let's create the response. Const response is equals to await. Let's send the mail. Open it, and let's say to address, which is going to be the email field, then name, which is going to be the full name, then right after here subject, which is going to be thank you for applying. Okay, if you wish to be more details, you can send along with this email and full name, you can send the job name, job ID, whatever the details you wish, or you can send the job ID and fetch the job ID and display the job name over here. But in this case I'm going to keep it simple. So here on the body, what I'm going to do, I'm going to send something like job has been applied. For the time being over here, job has been applied. This is the thing. And right after here, if the response dot message, okay, we will get the message ID, because that response, that's the text result. You will get the message ID from the Gmail if the mail everything is been success. Is that a case? We need to return the next response dot JSON as what? Mail delivered, something like that, with the status of what? 200. If not, is that situation, if it is not happening in that situation, so else we need to send this one. Okay, so we are getting error over here from the response. And why it is happening? Let's get back to the mail.ts. I think we failed to return the result over here. Return send result. Now we will not get the error in the thank you, because we haven't written anything. Now the result has been returned, so now you should get that message ID from the mail. Okay, so I think this is pretty much enough now. This is what it's need to be done. And let's get back to the job content, because this is the place where we need to call that API over here. So send mail API. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call await axuse dot post, open it, slash API slash API slash thank you. That's the API name. Thank you. And right after here, I need to supply the full name. Let's open the schema and let's copy the full name, which is going to be the user profile dot full name. Then I need to supply the email, which is going to be the user profile dot email. So make sure this full name, which is matches this one, because that is what we are trying to send over here. If everything is successfully done, then toast dot success, which is going to be job applied. Save the changes. Perfect. Now everything is fine. And let's check it out whether it is working fine or not. Let me keep it open, and let me keep the console open here as well, as because if there is any issues we need to wrap it up. So click apply. Okay, so we are getting, okay, encounter two key. Okay, this is just a warning because the place where we are displaying the key issue. So let's say if I click continue, and it is compiling the thank you, and that is compiled the thank you as well as, and it sent the mail as well as. Now if I get back over here and look at that, see, it's sending the message, thank you for applying, job has been applied. So which is working perfectly fine, right? So we got this mail, which means it is working perfectly how it's supposed to be. But what we need to do is, instead of getting this something like this mail, we need to make it look more awesome, something like it should look more reasonable and all those things, right? All right, so now what I have to do is, let me get back over here. Let me close this one, this one, this one. Okay, so now get back here. Search for be free. So basically befree.io, which helps you to create yourself the body content for your email, which means the template, body template for the email. So let me log into my account. So you can choose whatever your styles and everything, right? In this case I already have this. For instance, if you wish to create a new email, you can simply create a new email over here, simply copy it, and you can search for any categories, and you can choose the templates which is available templates from here. You can choose the usage, what kind of usage that you are using, and industries you can choose, and you can choose the template. In this case, let me open the template over here. For instance, if I click edit this email, and it is going to open that email. Okay, and you can see thank you, and we have this name and the text and everything, and we have this image, and over here we have this placeholder. You can see that. So we're having that placeholder. So basically what's the purpose of this placeholder is because we installed the package called handlebars. So that handlebar is going to get this full name from the API, and it's going to display it over here. So once you successfully done, you can simply export this thing, and you can download it, or you can simply copy the HTML, click the copy HTML. So we have the complete HTML code right now in our hand. So I'm going to copy this HTML code. Okay, so now what I need to do is, all I have to do is to get back to our files, collapse everything, get into the library, create a new folder called designs, and inside this design I'm going to say thank you, sorry, designs, which is going to be thank-u.ts. okay, so inside here now what I'm going to do is export const thank you template, which is going to be a dynamic string literal, and paste it. You can simply copy it, and now if you search for the name, Control F, and search for name, you should be able to see that name over here, because this is the place where our name is going to be replaced. Okay, so let's save these changes and close it, and let's get back to the our mail.ts. Let's get back to the mail.ts, because now what I need to do is, this is the place where we are simply sending the mail, and this is the body that we are trying to do, right? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to create a function in order to compile that particular mail. So what I need to do is, I'm going to say export const export const compile thank you email template, okay, which is going to receive the name, because we need to send a name where to our template, right? So receive the name string, open it. Then let's get that const template is equals to handlebars. We install the handlebars dot compile, open it, send the thank you template into it, because this thank you template is coming from where the template design which we exported from the designs folder, right? Then const HTML body, which is going to be template, open it, and you need to send the variable name, which is going to be the name itself. Okay, and at the end I'm gonna return the HTML body, so that this name will be applied in that placeholder and the entire content will be that particular design template will be loaded over here. We are returning it. Now I need to call this, where I need to call over here inside this thank you over here. I'm going to say compile thank you email template, load it and supply the full name inside here. Perfect. And now let's get back over here and let me open this particular job, load it. Okay, it has been loaded. Now if I click apply, and now if I click apply continue, it's loading and you can see job has been applied and we got this mail, thank you for applying the job. And now if I get back to our email, I should get the email, thanks for applying, and look at that, we got that complete email over here, thank you for applying, and with the custom message over here with the detailed design which we created, right? So this is how you can send the custom email to the user. Now we successfully applied the jobs, and which is working perfectly, and the email option is working perfectly, and all we have to do is to get back to the profile and we have to display the applied job details over here. And as the same way, we need to get back to the admin mode and click the jobs, and here I need to see the we have the option for applicants, so I need to fetch the users whoever applied for this job and I need to display it. And one more thing that we need to do, which is nothing but displaying the company's details. When I click the this page, it needs to load that particular company information, and that is it. This is what all we need to do, and we need to fix the analytics, and that's it. So far in this video, we successfully displayed the job details and we successfully applied for that specific job. And when I click this, this is going to apply for this specific job and you will get this thank you mail in your email. All right, so I'll see you in the next video then.